Our next and final lesson in this training is workplace safety. We will review the policies, procedures, and systems in place for creating a safe working environment. Crew's bulletin boards and notice boards assist in displaying important information and are usually located outside of the mess deck. Be sure to have a look at them and review the information posted, which may include union contracts, information on the next port, company notices and new or revised policies, watch bills and duty assignments, company drug and alcohol policy, safety information, current day's schedule, ship's meal menu for the day. Our workplace safety programs are contained in our Safety, Quality, and Environmental Management System, SQEMS, which was discussed in Module 1. SQEMS is mandatory for all employees, and the policies and procedures contained in it must be followed for everyone's safety. It encourages the development of a safety culture that includes processes for continuous improvement. An important part of SQEMS is the requirement to perform risk assessments for certain jobs or tasks. Some high-risk activities require a permit process, where a checklist must be completed and then signed by a senior officer to permit the activity. Confined space entry and lockout/tagout are two such examples that provide positive measures for your safety. Every employee has access to SQEMS at all times via crew computer stations. If you have any questions or need clarification of any policy or procedures, ask your supervisor or an officer. Our workplace safety programs cover many of the daily routines and work assignments that you will have during your time aboard. Next, let's review the cardinal safety rules. Please listen and read along as we discuss these rules which govern our actions aboard the ship. 1. It is the responsibility of everyone to take reasonable care of their own safety and other persons who may be affected by their acts or omissions at work. 2. All incidents must be reported immediately to a supervisor. 3. All unsafe conditions, practices must be reported to a supervisor. 4. All equipment must be inspected before using. 5. All personnel must be aware of the location and proper use of all safety equipment. 6. While working, one hand for the ship and one hand for yourself. 7. Horseplay not permitted. 8. No running on board, except in designated athletic areas. The Safety of Life at Sea Convention, or SOLAS, ensures that ships flagged by signatory states comply with minimum safety standards in construction, equipment, and operation. Crew members are required to have a basic knowledge of rules, regulations, policies, and procedures that regulate safety aboard the ship. The SOLAS training manual is required to be accessible by all crew members at any time and to be located in various parts of the ship, such as the crew lounge and outside the mess deck. Always be alert on deck, especially if it is wet. Be alert for things on deck that you can step on, trip over, or bump into. Remember, one hand for yourself and one for the ship. Always use railings when going up or down stairs and ship's ladders. Keep one hand free if carrying objects, and use handholds and railings in bathrooms and showers when necessary. The outside decks, called the weather decks, are off limits during rough weather. If it is necessary to go outside onto the weather decks during rough weather for any reason, permission must first be obtained from the officer of the watch on the bridge. When the ship is underway at night, deck lights are normally kept off. If it is necessary to go out on deck at night, permission must be obtained from the officer of the watch. All crew must follow safety regulations and policies, which include proper PPE, or personal protective equipment, while working. This includes proper attire, hearing protection, gloves, boots, hard hat, glasses, goggles, and more. The purpose of this equipment is to help prevent workplace accidents and injuries. While working, proper work clothes such as boiler suits or coveralls should be worn at all times. These are worn to prevent any hazardous materials from touching your skin, such as acid, fuel, and even certain types of paint. They cover the entire body up to your neck, wrists, and feet. When working on either the deck or inside the engine room, you should always be mindful of what you are wearing. Hard hat, gloves, and steel-toe boots must be worn at all times while working on deck. Wearing a hard hat can save you from head trauma that may occur by a blunt force or impact. It will give you the protection needed to safely complete the job. Gloves can prevent lacerations, abrasions, and burns that may potentially injure your hands. Wearing gloves is a precaution that is required while working on deck. Proper footwear is also needed when working on deck and in machinery spaces to protect feet and toes against impact hazards. Using these types of PPE decreases the risk of injury aboard the vessel. Full body harnesses are mostly used to prevent falls. They can save your life. A harness must be worn any time an individual is working more than 6 feet off the deck or is working over the side of the ship. When wearing a harness, be sure to secure the shock lanyard to a strong point of the ship that is able to support you if a fall occurs. Never rush or put yourself in a situation that could result in a fall. Exercise extreme caution when working aloft or over the side outboard of the railings. Now discuss the basic requirements of the vessel pertaining to disposal of ship's waste or garbage. Items such as plastic, wood, glass, and metals aren't allowed to be thrown overboard. These materials can cause harm to the ocean and kill marine life. The ship has a strict garbage management plan that describes how garbage must be managed and disposed of. Follow the signs posted in the galley for segregation of waste and recyclable materials. The disposal of food is executed by the cooks, who will comply with the regulations that are currently in place. Do not throw anything overboard, not even cigarette butts. Oil is extremely harmful to marine life and must not be allowed to leak or spill into the water. Make sure that winches or other machinery aboard the vessel are in good working order and are not leaking. Machinery on deck is surrounded by containments designed to catch any spills or leaks of oil. Make sure to check these periodically to make sure they are clean. If oil is found, report it immediately to your supervisor or an officer. These are some of the basic safety programs that are in place aboard your ship that you need to become familiar with. Hazardous materials. Hazardous materials are chemicals that can cause physical harm or damage your health. Every crew member is required to complete training for hazmat prior to the ship leaving port. Lockout-tagout is a set of procedures to ensure that mechanical, electrical, hydraulic, and other forms of stored energy will not cause injury when working on equipment or machinery. The ship has numerous tanks, voids, cofferdams, and other spaces that are considered confined spaces. That is, they have limited means of entering and exiting, and can contain toxic gases or a lack of oxygen. Confined spaces can be extremely dangerous and require testing and extensive precautions prior to crew members entering. There are many different types of respiratory protection in use aboard the ship. Some are used to protect the crew in the event of a chemical spill or fire. Some are used for protection when working with chemicals or performing work activities such as sanding or grinding that can create dust. There are additional safety programs in place depending on your position in the crew and the tasks you are assigned to perform. Prior to performing some of your duties, risk assessment must be performed by an officer. This is an evaluation of the work to be performed to determine what procedures or equipment might be necessary to perform the work safely. The safety management system, containing all our safety policies and procedures, is available to all employees. Ask your supervisor or an officer if you have any questions or concerns about the job you are doing and the tasks you are performing. You have now concluded the APL Maritime Container Ship Familiarization Tour and Training Simulation. Congratulations and well done! We hope you have enjoyed your training, and we look forward to seeing you on board our APL vessels in the near future. Thank you for your commitment to making your ship a safe place to work for everyone.